This is the Stubborn German Podcast. I'm Kevin Ostie, coming to you with the proprietor of the Stubborn German Brewing Company here in beautiful Waterloo, Illinois, Mr. Chris Ron.
Yo!
That's German for something, right?
No.
And today we have another pair of very exciting guests, Keith and Betsy Jones, who are some representatives of our local farming community. Welcome, Keith. Betsy.
Hello. Glad to be with you.
Thank you.
And before we get too far into their story, as per tradition, we're going to start with Chris's little silly contest.
You only say it's silly because you've never won it.
Well, yeah.
German word of the day. Here we go. So the German word of the day today is Das Nudelhosch.
Das Nudelhosch. Say it again there.
Das Nudelhosch.
I think Alexa says it better than you.
I know.
Or whoever that is
Das
in there.
Nudelhosch.
Yeah. So
what do you think it means?
Well, I'm polite. I'm going to let our guests go first, of course, and guess what this is. But remember, there's no prize and there's no real penalty for getting it wrong outside of,
Shaming.
Chris shaming
Much
you.
shaming later.
What do you think Das Nudelhosch means?
Take a guess.
Macaroni and cheese.
Macaroni and cheese. I like
Wow,
it.
nice.
I don't. It sounds like pantyhose.
Pantyhose.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. Pantyhose, macaroni and cheese,
Das
and
Nudelhosch.
Kevin's absolutely absurd answer is
I'm going to say it's the rigatoni.
the rigatoni. Okay.
Yeah, and I have a little logic there.
All right.
Because it's das, which can mean the.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
noodle hose was kind of like a rigatoni. It's like a
Okay.
noodle that's
a noodle
hose.
hose.
How about that?
A hose that's a new rigatoni. Okay.
It's a new way to be wrong this time.
At least there's thought put into this one. I think one time he just said a date.
Well,
Okay. Well, we'll find out how wrong you all are at the end of the episode.
Oh, nice.
Please stay tuned.
yes. Well, so here at the Stubborn German, this is not just a place to come and drink beer and hang out. It's also kind of a community center. There are a lot of things that happen.
Yeah, it's a place to do your grocery shopping.
Sometimes it is, thanks to you guys. So, Keith, why don't you tell me a little bit about your operation and what you guys do?
Well, our operation is kind of it's a lovely accident, really. At the end of the day, it was an excess of produce 4 or 5 years ago that turned into quite a flourishing business, and I don't know, Bets, what?
Well, it started with 10 chickens.
10
chickens.
That's always where it starts.
It starts with 10 chickens. Those 10 chickens became 100 chickens.
Oh, boy, you left them together too long.
And then, my dad was a custom builder, so I had an entrepreneur spirit in me. And so that 100 chickens, I was like, I can get rid of these eggs, the excess of eggs that we didn't need as a family.
Right? Yeah.
And so, I'm wheeling eggs out of the back of my trunk at homeschool co-op and at church,
Awesome.
So we get like a customer base of friends and family that want eggs. And then his parents own Bean Tree Cafe.
Another local favorite for sure.
Absolutely.
Before we increased the flock, we had a conversation with them of, would you be interested in maybe using some of these eggs? And we're seriously thinking about upping the operation. So those 100 became 300.
Oh, wow.
And we started going that way. And I think that around there is when we got our name. Because we originally were not in produce. We were originally in eggs. So Keith, tell them about the name.
About the what, dear?
The name.
Feathers Farm.
Yeah, so the name is actually, we get called Father's Farm and Feathers Farm, but they think it's like a plural thing. And so Feathers is actually possessive. There's actually an apostrophe S in there because Feathers is actually just, Feathers a nickname that was given to me, maybe for unflattering reasons. I don't know. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, and a feather kind of blows away. And so it was jokingly started to be called, before it was ever an LLC, was Feathers Farm. And still today it gets messed up a lot. But it's just a nickname that seemed to really fit the chickens. And
For sure.
it worked.
Now, even at 100 chickens, And we're talking 100 layers, not roosters. So you're looking at what, an egg a day, an egg every day and a half or so on average? So that's a decent amount right there. And then you upped it to 300 and supplying the bean tree with the egg products. And it's a full-time job, totally, at that point.
Yeah, it is. But that's where our kids come in to play as well. And it really has never been a huge burden on the family because we've always had extra helpers. And it's chicken, we've always talked about getting rid of the chickens because it is a huge money sucker, time sucker. Where we really enjoy the produce aspect more on the farm. The eggs really provide a great opportunity for the kids to participate because our little kids can help stack the eggs, the middle-aged kids can go and collect the eggs, and then the older ones can help and be efficient with washing it and do a good job with that. So it gives them an opportunity to work alongside us and be a part of it, and they seem to really enjoy the responsibility. So...
Wow.
We like the eggs.
On average, how many eggs would you say hit the ground every day?
Ellie counted just 2 days ago, and I think it was 244.
No, he's talking about drop.
I mean
eggs.
drop, like broken eggs. I hope it's not that many.
No, but she helped me wash the other day, and I think she dropped about 5 of them.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and if you've ever cleaned up an egg...
helping,
it is about 20 pieces of paper towel worth to actually get it off the ground.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fascinating that your kids are into the farm work and accepting that responsibility instead of shunning it and wanting to go play video games. And that's really cool. It's getting to be very unusual these days.
Right?
Yeah. So, where did the produce side come into the story?
Well, when we had an abundance of eggs and we had egg customers, we had an overproductive garden one year. And so we just added in an option for the egg customers because we always had like tomatoes and peppers and those types of things growing up. So we just added in an option. You could get a produce bag with your eggs this week for like $15. It was so cheap and it was packed with so much stuff. We didn't make any money off of it.
How many eggs were we talking in that kit?
Well, the eggs was just like probably 1 dozen eggs, but the produce was a lot. And so after doing that, you started watching YouTube videos on produce.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. I mean, without YouTube. I mean, you think about like even 15 years ago, it's like somebody trying to do what we were going to do. They would have to like go to farms and tour to learn what we've learned. But now with YouTube, you can, we've learned from people, Curtis Stone, Jean-Martin Fortier, Connor Crickmore. It's big names that it's like these guys are putting stuff out there for nothing. And so we just start, probably me more so, just start binging these things. And, our whole market sort of shifted, away from, not away from, but like our view and our focus started to turn towards, more the market farming and totally different crops than we ever thought, like lettuce. Lettuce is our biggest crop. Lettuce is what people know Feathers Farm by, the lettuce and the eggs. And
for sure.
Right there, yeah.
So you guys brought us some lettuce mix bags that are really nice. This is definitely not the the plastic salad kit bag you get at the grocery store. This is it appears hand filled, and it's a mix of different lettuce, and it's a very nice bag tied off with a label on it. So tell me what's in this. Lettuce?
Good question, Kevin.
Yeah, so we rotate through the year, but our lettuce mix is a lettuce variety called Salanova. And there are 8 different varieties of Salanova altogether, but in the mix you have right there, it looks like green sweet crisp, red sweet crisp, green butter, and
he's not looking at the
red
label.
butter.
It says it right on the label, right? But he's looking at the lettuce.
Yeah,
he's like,
IDing it.
Right, no, this is red, this is green.
It's called being legit, Chris.
Yeah.
But depending on the time of year, we'll switch that up because in the summer, you're going to switch to like an in-size lettuce, and that's kind of a nerd out talk. But yeah, Right. I knew that was coming. But the idea is that in every bag, you have some purple, you have some green, you have variety. But at the end of the day, we grow this variety called Salanova because of the taste and because of the longevity, which is, I think the longevity is one of the things we're really known for. Is
I was just going to comment on that. So we get a produce bag every week, and I'll do salads all week long, and I feel like I don't eat the whole bag of lettuce, and it's still good even into my next bag of lettuce. And I'm like, well, finally, I feel like I'm throwing away good lettuce because I've got a fresh bag sitting here, so I'm always
mix
caught
it
up.
in, yeah.
But it tastes great, and it really lasts a long time.
It's an interesting point because I've noticed, and I think this is a function of farming and distribution and delivery. It seems to me when you go to a grocery store, in particular a big box store, that the produce you buy doesn't last. It's like right at the edge of turning when it's on the shelf.
Yeah, you got a couple days.
That's it. You bring it home, and unless it's a pear, pears take a while to ripen, so, everything else.
Right.
And I think that's a function of getting it out of the ground, getting it processed and delivered to the other side of the world or wherever, that they just time it out so that they don't want you to have that for a week, because you're not buying it again tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's my little conspiracy theory on that.
Which is so unfortunate because the nutritional value of things goes down the longer that it sits on the shelf. And so that's why we put a harvest date on our packaging too, is so that people know when it is harvested. Broccoli, for instance, you want to eat broccoli within 24 hours of harvesting it to gain
So all this time I've been suffering through eating broccoli, and it's probably not even nutritionally
This explains
good
so
for me.
much.
And if you're boiling it in water and then draining all the water out, it's
isn't
gone.
that what you?
It's like pouring 7-Up in your bourbon, man.
you throw cheese all over it.
Cover it and smother it in cheese and bacon, and now I can tolerate it.
Yeah, so this particular lettuce mix is 2 days out of the ground, right? According to the date on the bag.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah. So you've alluded to other types of crops. It's not just lettuce. So what's the whole list that you guys are doing? He laughs.
He
He's
laughs.
like, "Oh."
Well, and when you get these bags, sometimes we laugh. Like you take it out, it's like, what is this? Like, first of all, what is this? Second of all, I didn't know they were doing this, and
I didn't know this grew here.
Turnips. I was like, well, somebody's growing turnips. Like, that's cool.
Kohlrabi.
Turnips are good. Yeah.
I think it's like anything else, so take a brewer, for example, and it's like you open up that catalog and there's all these different kinds of, roasted, this much, that much, and all these different things, and you think, oh, that'd be great, that'd be great, that'd be great. And when you're looking at your seed catalog, you're in December. And so you're thinking, well, sure, let's grow stevia. And then, you get going in the season, and it's like, are we going to start stevia, Steve, right now? Well, no. We got...
Yeah, right.
But... our big crops there, cucumbers are a big one, tomatoes are a big one, all the root veg, root veg is something that I don't think people really fully appreciate, your radish, your turnips, and we don't grow like the purple top, like people are so familiar with that, we grow a hackeri, which is like, you can like eat them like apples, and beets.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Turnips,
and the carrots and all that kind of stuff, so it's, what else? What am I missing?
Carrots are legit, yeah.
All the greens, we do microgreens, we do spinach,
the
arugula.
microgreens is a whole different episode, I feel like. That stuff is life-changing.
All right, can
the
you
little microgreens?
Bring me up to speed on the definition of microgreen here.
What the heck is a micro? I don't know. It's a little separate bag, maybe about half the size of this, and it's got these little bitty
this bag
shoots.
right here is about a size of a loaf of bread, I'll say.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's a separate bag.
It is a separate bag.
And it's not just cutoffs of this that are smaller.
No, it's not like, in there somehow.
Yeah.
But no, it's they're little like shoots of
so instead of
peas or
growing
something?
like an individual radish and giving 2 inches space in between each radish, you are covering an entire tray with radish seed. And then they sprout and they grow to about
a couple inches or
4 inches taller,
okay.
so in a week's time, and they're ready to cut.
Wow.
So they're more expensive because you're using so much more seed to accomplish that. But they say they're way, way more nutritionally dense because of their small size compared to the adult counterpart.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Well, and just to clarify, like, so we grow a broccoli, a radish, a sunflower, and a pea. And normally you're eating the pea, you're eating the broccoli, no one eats sunflowers, and on the radish, you're eating the actual radish. But when you talk about microgreens, you're actually eating the green itself. So it's sprouting up, and it's the short green.
The plant.
And right. And the radish green tastes like a radish, broccoli, so on and so forth. The sunflower actually has a nutty flavor.
Wow, interesting.
It adds so much to a salad. I don't know. To me, like, I eat salads just because, like, I probably shouldn't have, a cheeseburger every single day of my life for lunch. So I'll have a salad, but, like, it's always a challenge to make it taste palatable or exciting at all.
Yeah, different.
And I'm telling you, you put those microgreens on there, and with this lettuce, and it, like, there's actually flavor in the salad, and it's like not burdensome to like that. That's why I would always struggle with anytime I would ever, like, get on and say, okay, getting fat again, time to eat some salads, and it would work for about 2-3 weeks, and it's like, yeah, I'm over it. But no, I mean, I can honestly say that this is a different quality and different level, and there's flavor there, and it's like I look forward to lunch.
Well, that's really cool, and it's a great point, because a lot of people think they have to confine themselves to salads to lose weight or be healthy.
Right.
And then you take a bottle and pour something on it to make it edible, and all the nutritional value is gone. It's now oil and fattening and horrible for you. And this is something that came out of the ground that adds the flavor.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you're adding flavor just by the stuff that you're supposed to be eating anyway. So yeah. Instead of just being a complete neutral chunk of lettuce from the store.
Right. Who wants to eat just straight lettuce?
Romaine. I said it.
We're growing romaine this year, dear. A little bit anyway.
Did you cave or what?
Yeah.
Well, romaine's not that easy to grow without using some kind of a pesticide on. So we're trying it because it's there is demand for it, and I think that it can be done in a good way. But yeah, it's a little more difficult than some of these lettuces,
Touching on that, we do try to grow. Well, we do grow everything without pesticides, without herbicides.
Even though there are lots of times where I really wish I had a bottle of something to knock out.
Yeah.
The aphids and the
Yeah. So that's a really interesting topic, because I grew up in a suburb of Chicago. I'm not from this area, and for me, seeing farmland was a 45-minute drive. I saw the concrete jungle, and not like inner city, but we didn't see much farmland. So my exposure to the agricultural experience came when I moved here. My wife grew up in Waterloo. That's why I'm here. And I learned, a lot of the things you see up there on the television set and that you're told, and then you talk to a farmer, and they're like, no. That's not the way it works, And especially when you start to talk about some of the pesticides and the GMOs and everything else, and how some of these massive, giant crops, just managing them without those, some of them are borderline impossible, And the other thing is, when people are buying things that they think are better for them in some ways because they've never been treated or they're non-GMO, but it turns out it's not quite as healthy of a plant. And it's, so where I'm going is there's a lot of marketing spin on some of this stuff, but at the same time, none of us here want to be consuming chemicals, and we don't know the long-term effects, especially when the seed companies and the chemical companies keep kind of denying, oh, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then a big lawsuit comes up and they pay everybody off. And no, it's fine.
It's still fine. Still
right.
fine.
Nothing to see here. So what's your approach on all that?
I mean, it's a really tough one, right? So, you can look at like a farm like ours, and so we're a third of an acre. So, to put that in perspective, it's like 12,000 square feet. I mean, there's houses in Monroe County like bigger than that. So that essentially is what we grow produce on. But that's not going to feed the world, and Feather's farm isn't striving to become a mega farm. But if there were lots of smaller farms like this, lots and lots and lots of them, then you could do what we do, and trying to avoid the pesticides, the herbicides. It's so easy to just come in and throw some Roundup on something, and boom, great, we got a great bed to plant on. But it's easy to manage things like, say, with tarps. Like we use tarps, and you throw a tarp on something, and what does it do? It kills everything underneath of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that on an 80-acre field, full of produce. So it's I think sometimes it's easy to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, well, we should just all stop doing this all at once. But the truth is that if we stop doing that all at once today, that we wouldn't be able to feed everybody. And so it's like I do feel for conventional farmers, and especially farmers that it's their whole lifestyle. It's everything they have, and to say, well, just stop doing this and do this instead. It's like, well, it's easy for you to say because, well, for Betsy and I, this is kind of it's a side gig, and it's a very intensive one. Don't get me wrong, but I think it needs to be incentivized, that we have something to strive for, but still, like, to do what we do on a really, really, really large scale, it would be very difficult. And I tell you, I'd really like to see a lot more small farms like our size. Like, our desire isn't to become, even an acre. I don't even want to be that big. And and that sounds ridiculous, but if you really farm intensively, a third of an acre, I mean, I really wish we had numbers on how many pounds of lettuce and how many pounds of all these things we produce.
Yeah, your output is really impressive, because I didn't realize it was, I hate to use the word, but that's small. But you guys are getting your money's worth out of the soil, for sure.
It's around 150 pounds of lettuce a week.
Say
150 pounds of lettuce a week.
Wow.
That's insane. Because this weighs what? A pound and a half?
A half.
This is a half pound?
A half
pound. That's a half pound of lettuce.
300 bags
Yeah.
a week on a, what did you say, a third of an acre?
Yeah, well, and so let's just all the truth get out there. Like, so the chickens actually run on a different plot of land. It's 3 acres. So
Sure.
I'm not including the chickens in that.
Sure.
Right.
You're talking the produce.
Well, there's no
end.
chickens in the bag either.
There's
so.
no
And when he says a third of an acre, he's talking about just the beds, not
Sure,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
space in between the beds,
Well, the
not all
usable-
of the driveways,
No,
not
no.
all of this.
Well, I'm talking about just the beds in the
Yeah.
aisles. Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
That's where the stuff grows.
If you came out to our farm, you wouldn't think, oh, this is only a third of an acre. You would,
Right.
Yeah, it's not like, a residential street and the corner house
Right.
has
Right.
lettuce growing.
There's
you know.
5 greenhouses on it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Well, that's really cool. That's definitely something to think about. And so what you're suggesting is that because of the size, it's far more controllable, and it's also not as susceptible to airborne weeds, cross-pollinators, things from other, like a 1,000-acre farm would be, to get the exposure from that stuff.
I don't know. I think it's just as exposable.
Well,
I mean, we're surrounded by conventional farming, and that, thank God, we do have farmers around us that care, and so they are very careful about how they spray and how they do things. And
That's cool.
you have to be, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a question. So, I mean, obviously now you've been using our brewery as your drop-off location for a couple years now. Is that right?
I want to say we're going on our third.
This is the third season, I think. Okay. So what did you do before that, and then what's the plan going forward? What's new? What's happening after?
You're
for
it.
this- Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. You're the end
No,
of
I don't mean.
Are you quitting?
No, I'm not quitting.
Well,
no,
and-
I'm like, where do you have plans for expansion, like as far as other restaurants or stores, that kind of, like, where can people get your stuff besides here?
Yes. So we have expanded a little bit. We serve Schneider's here in town, Fresh Pasture Farms in Millstadt, IGA in Millstadt.
Is this just lettuce or a little bit
Yes.
of everything? Okay.
Mostly just lettuce,
Got it.
sometimes some microgreens,
Cool.
IGA Redbud now, and then we supply restaurants right around here, Bean Tree, JV's, Shorty's, Pie Hard.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. And I think let's clarify when you're saying that people can get it here.
Right. Yeah.
Let's
so
tell
you
that story.
You don't just come in and say, I'd like a bag of lettuce today.
And a schnitz and giggles.
In a you shits and giggles and a bag of lettuce, and then I'm going home. How do people participate in the drop off here?
So we have an online store. So they can go to www.feathersfarm.co, C-O, not .com, .co.
Oh, okay.
And they can order everything that they want to order is on the front page. We make it nice and easy, and you just check out like anything else. You can use PayPal, you can use your credit card, and then I get that and then you come here on Thursday and you have a bag with your name on it.
Easy enough.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
We also offer yearly Csa subscriptions, so people can pay in March for the entire year, and same thing, they come here every week or every other week and pick up their bag.
That's
So we
dynamite.
offer that as well.
Very cool.
And then, of course, we have the farmers market.
Yeah, farmers market is every Saturday.
Every Saturday at now the new location is the Monroe County Annex building.
Ambulance garage, that area. Yeah.
Right,
Yep,
good explanation. Some people don't know what the annex is.
I know. Well, yeah.
It sounds
Well,
scary.
because I've had to ask, what's an annex building?
Yeah, most people
I
actually
drove past
don't.
it and saw it the other day.
It's the place where all the
market.
ambulances zoom out of. Like, that's right there. Go there.
Right.
It's the building in front of the recycling. It's just the giant parking lot
Yeah.
off the bypass.
The bus garages. That's the one. That's what I've sold it with.
Well, and it's
Okay.
also
Yeah.
the University of Illinois Home Extension Office.
Yes. It's many things.
That sounded smart, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it did. But you can actually go there and buy a la carte, I guess, like whatever you decide you'd
Yes.
want. Okay. Awesome.
And how is how's business going?
It's going great. Yeah.
Do you sell everything you grow, or I mean, how? Or,
We have very, very little waste, and
That's
I
awesome.
really like that about our farm. And I don't know that we want to grow in production very much more than we already are. I think we just want to be more efficient and grow our infrastructure so that it's easier and it allows more family time and allows more friend relationship time. And we like where our production is at.
You're a business owner.
You're saying things that are foreign concepts to most farmers of family time and friend time and personal time. You know, most farmers are all day, all night, all the time. So that's
Yep.
a very formidable goal. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like what Betsy's saying is we've just seen that they're doing things more efficiently, and like, so we have a greenhouse right now. It's a really nice greenhouse. It's a 30 by 72, and it's heated. And we've seen like the way that house can produce is like far exceeds what you can do in say a less technology advanced house. And so it's not that all of our production is in houses, and not that it should all be that way, but it's just the idea that you can keep the same footprint, produce way more stuff that's way more high quality, so you're not throwing out half the tomatoes because they're bad or half this because they're bad. Every single one of them is good.
Nice.
And that's sort of the idea, is keeping it where it's at, making it easy, but making every single inch count, and keeping the quality just really high where you're not wasting time throwing things out.
That's cool. That's
yeah,
really
at
cool.
this point, I feel like our kids really enjoy it and they really take pride in it. If they're having a bad attitude and we ask them to come out and help with something, it's amazing how within a couple minutes their attitude goes away and suddenly they're humming a song and and then they get done and they're proud of what they did. And while we pay them to help out, you know, half the time they're like, "Mom, you don't need to pay us." Like, I think they just enjoy
Yeah.
being
Wow.
a part of something. And so I think if we grew it much more than it is, it would become a chore and we would have to hire lots of employees because we wouldn't want the kids to have to do that. And that takes something away from them,
Oh, for
too.
sure. Yeah.
So I think at this point in our life anyway, we like where we're at and we want it to be a positive experience for our customers and for our kids and our family. And so we just want to make it more efficient and make it better.
What are the age range of your kids?
We have 6. The oldest is 14 and the youngest is 3.
Wow.
So
That's
That's a lot of hands on the farm.
It's exactly. I was going to say, it's interesting that you guys are relying on technology and new methods, but the big family to be working on the farm just like the old days. So
And they all do their little thing, too. My oldest does flowers, and she gets all the money from that from market, and the next one does cupcakes, and the next one is doing herbs this year.
oh, cool.
So,
Awesome.
learning business as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So how did you guys end up distributing out of the Stubborn German Brewing Company?
Tammy was a customer, and she picked up, after we started selling to churches and homeschool co-op, we got a larger list of people that were interested, and then we asked for people to be willing to be a pickup location. So we had 4 coolers in people's yard.
Oh, boy.
So like 12 produce bags, 3 would fit in each cooler. We would haul the coolers, the produce bags to people's yard every week.
Oh, wow.
They would pick up, and then 3 hours later, I'd come back and pick up the
Oh, my
coolers.
goodness. That's a lot of work. Yeah.
We had one in Waterloo and one in Columbia and one at our church. And so she was one of those customers that would pick up in a local person's yard here in town. And then she reached out to us and said, hey, do you want to be a drop-off location? And looking back, I can't imagine, Easter weekend, I think I had like 70 some odd bags to drop off here.
Some weeks it's like, wow, business is good at Feathers Farm.
Well, I remember during the COVID times, maybe just before. Anyway, I came here to pick up a couple of growlers.
Yeah.
And I think it was on a day that you weren't open, or it was before opening time or something. Maybe a Wednesday or something. I don't know.
Sounds right.
And your bartender was lucky, or was nice enough to meet me before hours and
gotcha.
Get me the growler. I think I was going out of town. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to take them and share your beer with other people in the country. And you and I met. You were loading stuff. And I was like, I had no concept of what this was, and I'm thinking, this poor woman has all these bags. And I'm like, can I help you with some of that? And you're like, no, it's all good. And I'm like, wow,
really, you're gonna do all that, huh?
Well, I'm gonna take my beer and go home. So that was pretty wild.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, it's a great it's a great cause. I haven't had the lettuce yet, but I'm looking at this bag saying that looks really good, and I'm envisioning what that's going to become. So, it's very cool. To use the word, it's a very organic business, and it's nice that you're growing your family through it, and they're in it, and it doesn't get much neater than that. So we really appreciate you joining us here at
thank you guys.
The Stubborn German podcast, and for being a drop-off point. So if you know where the Stubborn German Brewery is, this is where the pickup point is, and give us the website once again so people can sign up and purchase.
feathersfarm.co, C-O.
You know, when you said that before, and you said not the M, you said .co. For some reason, there's a slogan in there somewhere, like "Save the M for savings," or something. I don't know what it is.
Leave the M off for
for something.
The M was going to cost $10,000.
So I said you. Yeah, very nice.
CEO works.
My advertising brain kicked in. So, well, very good.
We'll keep working on that.
Yeah, I'll keep working on a lot of stuff. All right. Well, we need the answer to our German word of the day.
We certainly do. Okay, so Das Nudelholz.
I got this one wrong.
Yeah, guess what? You're all wrong. It means rolling pin.
Man.
Noodle.
Second guess.
Noodle.
You're right there.
Yeah, that was your second guess.
Tip of the tongue. Rolling pin, really?
Rolling pin. Nudelholz, rolling pin.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, right. Well, better luck to all of us next time.
Yep, I'm sure next week will be so much better.
Right. Well, we appreciate you tuning in and learning all about Feathers Farm here on this episode of the Stubborn German podcast. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't be afraid to check out previous episodes if you haven't done that already. We encourage you to check out the Feathers Farm website. You guys have a Facebook page too?
Yes.
What do we find there?
You get pictures of what's happening every week. All of our info.
She's looking at me right now as if I know how to post things on Facebook. I have no idea.
I'll tell you what, if you look up Feathers Farm on Facebook, you're going to see what I'm seeing here, this awesome bag of lettuce mix and a whole bunch more, and it's all good. So check them out there. And we appreciate you tuning in. And for Mr. Chris Ron and Keith and Betsy Jones and Jared, our producer, we're going to leave with a toast.
Prost!